Journeying with God, I wish more people told me about the suffering aspect of this Christian walk. I wish earlier in life, as I grew up with blessings and miracle and favor and breakthrough, I learned the role of suffering, because right now, in this era of my life, I've come to find a new appreciation for the role of suffering in God, and I've learned to see the blessings in the suffering. If you read all of Job chapter 1, you see a man who committed no wrongs, who was righteous, and God even confessed that he was. And you see everything stripped away from him, and one by one they tell him that he has lost his cattle, his livestock, his livelihood, and eventually his children. And verse 20 says, "Then Job arose and tore his robe and shaved his head and fell on the ground and worshipped." Wow. He worshipped. And that's a dimension of suffering that nobody really tells us about. Because of course we're going to worship in the blessings and in the favor, in the breakthrough and in the opportunity. Of course, the response is thanksgiving. But to worship when you hear that everything that you held dear is lost, now that's amazing, that's mind-blowing. And in 21, Job said, "Naked I came to my mother's womb, and naked shall I return. The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord." And verse 22 says, "In all this, Job did not sin or charge God with wrong." And that's the amazing thing about suffering. To worship sincerely in a place of suffering, in a place of delay, and in a place of denial, in a place of warfare, and in a place of defeat, is the real victory. And I'm not just saying words from my head here, cause it plays out perfectly through the life of Jesus Christ. And the wonderful thing about his story is that we see the victory, we see the revelation, and he assures us that he has come to be the firstborn, and we are expected to follow after him. We are expected to follow in his footprints. And one thing I've learned about suffering, as Job said, is the understanding that our lives belongs to God. Job acknowledged that naked I was born and naked shall I return. It takes a great deal of humility to understand that we have nothing and to make God your everything. And that is the center of what worship is, acknowledging God as your everything. And so as I continue to journey with God, in as much as I look at my prayer points and I look at my desires and the things that I'm working towards and looking up to God for, I have come to find a new appreciation in the delay, that is the point of worship. That is the point of looking up to God with everything that you have and everything that you are, and say, even in this, your name is glorified, because my life was yours from the very first point. And even if you take it all away, yet even so, even then, you are good. And we know how Job's story ended. And we know how Jesus' story ended. And I put ended in quote because I know that his story is an eternal one, an eternal story that he has called us to share with him in. And I just want to encourage you today that if you have fled from the suffering, because I'm sure I'm not the only one suffering, let's learn to see the blessing in the suffering. Let's learn to see the beauty in the battle, and even there we will see Christ become more vivid in our eyes.